Dear Michael, it's Nick here. I'm just writing you this letter to let you know that I'm not gonna come in today.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're following me around instead of him.
So, what do you want to do now, Michael?
Want to review Richalvarez?
Okie dokie.
So, why review Richalvarez? There's several reasons why it doesn't make sense. One, it's a YouTube channel. Two, it's not one of the most popular YouTube channels. And three, haven't me and Greg here kind of outgrown it? I mean, their main show was kind of childish. Oh, that and the fact that Zachary already does a channel review series. Personally, I think it's a very reasonable thing to review, for several reasons, but the biggest one is, well, it's the whole reason the Exploding Duck Brigade exists. Think of a socially awkward 13-year-old Michael who didn't have too many friends at the time, just logging onto YouTube because it was his new big thing, and then going on to his favorite YouTuber's channel and start talking in the comments. That is where I met Austin, and from there I met Stuart, Mitzi, Zach, and the rest of the gang, all through this channel. And I mean, we were such big fanboys of this show. We roleplayed this show, we talked about this show constantly. We made a freaking YouTube page that was a fan page for the stinking show. We liked Richalvarez quite a bit. And as time's gone by, we don't really acknowledge it that much anymore. Most of us don't even watch Richalvarez anymore, and I think the only video that ever got any mention from him at all was our stupid Mario Bros. Commentary way back at the beginning of the Brigade, and the discussion video me and Miniboy did. Aside from that, me, Greg, and Stuart recently rewatched this series, and maybe it's just out of nostalgia from loving it when we were younger, but we still liked it. Aside from that, as Richie said himself, the channel is kind of growing up with the fans of Stupid Mario Bros. I was 13 around the time I started watching, and now I'm 18. And now their stuff is becoming more dark, more serious, more plot-based rather than being silly. And yeah, it's really grown up with us actually, and I think there's a lot to talk about. Now, one thing I would like to say real quickly, this is a Richalvarez review, not a review of their show. So I'm going to be talking about their more current stuff rather than the old stuff. But let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Hey, I'm talking to you.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, but this is my house. You can't just come barging in here whenever you want.
Whatever, you're just a racist.
No, you cannot turn this into a thing about race. You cannot turn this into a thing about race. You came into my house, and I don't want you here, and you'll just get the hell out! But we should also talk about Stupid Mario Bros. Now, once again, I'm gonna make it quick. This has been discussed so many times, it's also been criticized to death by the fans and everyone else, some of the cast members, and myself quite a bit in the past. I've talked about the show more than necessary to even be doing a review on it, which is why I want to make it quick. Okay, so everyone can kind of agree that seasons 1 through 3 and the movie were great. People kind of thought it went downhill after Operation Blindstorm and the Interactive Adventure, and people started to hate it after season 4 and season 5. And honestly, season 5 is my only problem with the show. I liked season 4. I honestly did. The only problem season 4 has, a lot of the jokes didn't work. They brought in a lot of running jokes throughout the entire season that just weren't funny, like DK being upset about Pauline, or the fart jokes, and it just carried on so much and it was so forced. But there were the jokes that did work. There was, the poker game, which was hilarious, there was Max Payne, there were the ninjas. There were some good ideas throughout the season. And also, the plot really wasn't that bad, aside from bringing the darkness back at the end, which, okay, I think it's time to forgive him for that one. The story worked pretty well. The characters are more laid back like they were in Season 1 because they think all of their problems are over and they don't even have powers to worry about anymore. But now a new threat's come, so they need to get their powers back and need to stop being laid back, and like they did in Season 2, they need to step it up again. Okay, pretty cool. Like, you already had Operation Blindstorm, the interactive adventure in the first half of Season 4, to be like Season 1, so let's get back to a story like we did with Season 2 and Season 3. It was a good setup. The villains were alright. I will admit Blair could have been built up better, but I liked Ken. No one really wanted Liquid back, but Ken was a good character. It made it very interesting, and then that got ruined in Season 5. Let's talk about Season 5 real quick. Season 5 started off really good with the first couple episodes, but then it went into what everyone's already criticized it for, so once again I'll make it quick, filler. Filler that took up every single episode until you made it back to episode 75. And it was just not a great way to end the show. I mean, having Mario with Brock and Gary throughout the entire season, not great. He was the main character. Having all these different side plots that no one really cared about and were just a small attempt for comic relief, not very good either. And the thing was, there were some good ideas in this, like Waluigi coming back and kicking ass, or Wario leaving the group after all they've been through, but they weren't built up properly, but they could have been if that screen time was taken away from filler and put in with development like that. For example, Wario's reason for leaving. It was very small, and the reason it was so small is because there wasn't much time for it because of all the filler. There could have been many reasons that he decided to leave the group, but nope, it was just Mona. Could have been way better, I'm being serious. Waluigi scene, really cool, but could have gotten a little bit more of him. I know that he isn't in town that often, so it's hard to film all those scenes, but there was time they spent filming all those bed scenes that they could have been doing something else with the character. It wouldn't have mattered to us if he couldn't appear in every episode, as long as his few scenes in the season would have been really cool, but I think enough talk about Season 5 has been given.
Well, I don't know about you, but I actually had not seen every episode in order. How I discovered the channel, I should say. I was watching their music video. Games Are One Desire, and there was something about a Stupid Mario Brothers movie, and you'd think, well, a movie would most likely be something they just plain do, or they just do after the series. But anyway, I watched it, and then I realized, okay, there's a show, and then I realized there's a huge gap after I watched everything kind of out of order, and then there's something called Operation Blindstorm, and then I was just like, oh, crap, I watched everything out of order. But that didn't really bug me at all. I mean, I was fine with that. I pretty much got the story down, and right now I'm in the process of rewatching, and, I'm on to Season 3 now. I mean, the first season, I mean, it's amateur, but that's acceptable because they're beginners. But yeah, I liked Season 5 because they seem to be more mature when making it, if you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I honestly found this series plus the Operation Blindstorm and the film to be quite fine. I mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going into as much detail as you are, but that's because like I said, I have not seen every episode multiple times. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I really need to say about Stupid Mario Brothers.